Our next individual that I'd like to call up, he's clearly been out for the last 2 weeks solid, him and his men, and they're doing a terrific job, and that's our Superintendent of Public Works, Don Goodwin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First of all, I'd like to thank the Revere Fire and Police Department and the efforts of the Revere School Department in assisting us over the last couple of weeks with a very difficult task of trying to maintain the roads and open access to schools. From my point of view, for the next couple of days, we got probably from now till Tuesday, it's going to be a long duration type of storm. We're hearing a minimum of 7 to 8 inches and a high end of 17 to 19. I think we're somewhere in the middle. For your edification, it's going to be a slow-moving storm. It's going to be a slippery storm. You're going to have slippery roads Saturday, Sunday, parts of Monday. We should be able to get everything cleared up right after it stops snowing. A couple of critical issues that we need your help on, being the public, is that please try not to throw your snow into the street. It does you no good. The people up the street are throwing their snow in. We push it down. We get the calls, you plowed in my driveway. Well, if you didn't throw the snow into the street, we wouldn't be plowing in your driveway. Contractors that you're hiring are bringing driveway full of snow out onto the streets. That tends to let the width of the streets get smaller and smaller and smaller as you throw stuff out, which makes it very difficult for the police and fire to respond to emergencies. We had an emergency situation down at Centennial Ave this past storm, and the police came down to assist us to get a car that he just left it hanging out in the street because he didn't want to shovel his parking space out, and the emergency vehicles ended up getting stuck there. So this is a big problem. As the chief had iterated before, please, if you can get your car off the street, it'll make it that much easier for everybody. People who park their cars on top of sidewalks during these storms, you need to stop doing that. There is an ordinance on the book for the fining of people throwing snow into the street. We've been a little laxed in our past history with enforcing those ordinances, but my understanding is that inspectional services will be out there in this upcoming storm handing out tickets where warranted. We've had a very difficult 2 weeks, not just with the snow removal. We had an inordinate amount of water breaks to the people that out there were affected by it. We thank you for your patience in putting up with what's happened over the last couple of days. The number in the last 48 hours is north of 10, so when you have a crew of 8 guys that are responsible for doing that type of work, I have to tip my hat to the people at Public Works who've been there. I have a gentleman that hasn't been home since Monday. He's been out there night and day. Mr. Argenzio here, my foreman, he's been home maybe to take a shower and come back to work in 4 or 5 days. They are putting a concerted effort in for your own protection to help keep the streets open and safe. But we need cooperation from the public. Having said that, with the thousands of tons of salt that we've been throwing down, the mayor reiterated earlier, is that potholes are going to start coming in. We are going to need to have your help. Use Facebook, use ClickFix, use any social media that you may have at your disposal to let us know where these problems exist, and we will get to it as soon as possible. Paul, do you have anything to add? So once again, this is going to be a long duration storm. You're going to need to be patient. We don't know what the total amounts will be. It could be significant, but in any regard, please get the vehicles off the street. And remember, please do not throw the snow in the street because it doesn't help you get your driveway any cleaner sooner. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Donnie. And just to follow up again on what Donnie said, we get calls. I'm sure probably almost everybody here receives phone calls from residents upset because they haven't been plowed out when they feel as though they should. You really need to know that a city as densely populated as Revere, you got to remember these roads were built prior to everybody having 2 or 3 cars per household. So you've got a lot of cars on very narrow streets, and it presents serious challenges. Chief Caffarelli said, if you have a driveway, get your car into the driveway. We understand you want to be able to plow your driveway out, but, you know, you leaving your car in the street is really at the expense of all your neighbors. So if you have a driveway, get your car into a driveway. If you don't have a driveway and you have a neighbor that has one, ask them if you can park their car there. It is very, very helpful to the overall snow removal process on your street and in your neighborhood. So, you know, again, if you feel the need, to call City Hall or call the Public Works Department or call the school department and, have issues with the way that the snow removal process is going, again, the majority of residents, it's been our experience, have been extremely patient, and I thank you for that. But you should know up front that they are doing all they can. If you drive around the city right now, you'll see these snowbanks that are already 4 and 5 feet high, and the thought of getting another 6 to 10 to 19 inches of snow and how that's going to be able to be distributed amongst these already huge mounds of snow, clearly, I think any reasonable person would understand it's going to present significant challenges. So, patience, please.